Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my floor plan tutorial. So we'll be continuing right where we left off last time. So first things first, since we completed our ground floor in the previous video, in this video we'll be adding a new floor and just basically completing the whole design. For us to add our new floor, what I prefer doing in this case, since my ground floor will be very similar to my first floor, what I'll do is that I will just clone it because I want the same measurement as the ones below. So what we'll do is that we'll go to floors, we'll go right ahead and just clone the first floor. And now what you need to double check is that you are working on the first floor, not the ground floor. And then we'll change our height down to 2,500. So now I'll be deleting my staircase and deleting the beams. And then now we will be adding our balcony, rather our floor space for our balcony. So we'll go ahead and add a square room and then make sure that you turn it into a balcony. And then just make sure that it is flush with your outside wall. I don't want it to be inside the wall, but I want it to be flush with the outside of the wall. And I'll do the same for the other side. I'll create a balcony, but I won't delete my beams as of yet because I need them to use them as a form of guide to know where I need to stop my floor. So I'll make sure that it ends flush with my beams. These beams are still here because I'm using them as like a way for me to see what my balcony size needs to be. So since I don't need them anymore, I'll just go ahead and delete. Some of them I'll only be using one side of the beam and column, just like that. Alright, so now I change the vertical position for my beam to 2,500. I'll change the height for my column to 2,500 since this floor is 2,500 instead of 2,700. Okay, and then I'll add my railing. So what you do is you go to general and scroll all the way down. And find your railing. And then just add it towards the alright, then I'll add my railing and then just add it on the boundary of your floor space, but not all the way outside. And then we'll change the sub post. As you can see right now, my sub posts are going straight down. I want them to be horizontal instead of vertical. So I'll say sub post horizontal. I just feel like it looks a bit better. Right, and then I will just go ahead and clone this and apply it on the other side. Then I can also go ahead and delete these interior walls since I won't be needing them, or I will be adding rooms rather. Okay, so now to add my rooms, what I'll do is that I'll add my square room and I'll change the size to 3202, and then for the other side I'll just make it slightly smaller because I want to move my room inside the house. The only size I'll be using is the 3202. The other one I'll still have to change it, but I just want to move my room inside first. Alright, so we slot my room right there, and then I transfer the door and we can just go ahead and delete this actually, so I don't need it. And then we'll resize our floor space so that I can have a bit of room to basically maneuver my room around. So now I want this room to be resting on one of the beams below. So I need to find a way to move it onto the dotted lines that you see below my floor space. So I just basically need to make room for it. So what the dashed line or the dotted lines mean is that they stand for, or rather represent, the floor underneath. In our case, we added beams at the bottom floor, and like I said, that those beams will be carry beams. So now I want my rooms to be resting on those dashed lines. So I want these walls to be flush with the dashed line, meaning that whatever weight this floor has, it will be resting on those carry beams, and those carry beams will be able to take that load onto the foundation. I actually didn't see that there's a door right there. So since there's a door right there, I can just go ahead and move it in. If it's not there, you can just basically add a new door. Okay, so now I add another square room, and just as usual, I need this room to be also be resting on one of the beams from below. But before we add it, we need to complete our master ensuite bedroom. So I'll just go ahead and snap it, and like I said, I need this room to be resting on these dotted lines because dotted lines mean that there is a floor beneath, and since the floor beneath, we know that basically means there is structure from beneath. So that means I can build my walls upon those dotted lines, knowing that the wall can take the load from above. I know that I have my supporting beams below, so I will use the dotted lines to guide me. And then now I will move my space So okay, now so I can go ahead and drag my space from my bedroom and I'll be making this passage to be 1250. $1,250. Right, so then now we can go ahead and make space for us to move our ensuite bathroom in. So once I've added my bathroom, what I'll be doing now is I'll be making space, so we can go ahead and actually click on that and delete that corner. Then you can go ahead and add your square room. This will be I believe there's a third bedroom. This is the third bedroom for the first floor. We can just go ahead and drag our windows into that room. Then you can add another room. This will be my bathroom. Alright, and then I'll only be resizing one side and I'll resize it down to 2000. And then I'll move it into that empty slot right there. And I'll make space for it so that I can fit the 2000 millimeters. And I'll make it flush with the outside wall. And then I'll just drag that passage to be flush with my bathroom wall. Alright, then now I can go ahead and resize my bathroom to 1966. Didn't realize that I didn't make this flush, so let's just make that ensuite bathroom flush. Then now we can add our last room and just resize it into the missing space. But I need to make sure that my last room is resting on the beam from below, as we can see the dotted line, so I'll resize it to make sure that it is flush with the dotted line. And I can also move my ensuite bathroom to make sure that it is also resting on that beam from below. And I'll resize my passage to be the same size as my bathroom. And then we can now go ahead and clone our doors. And then for this side, I need a folding door. Sorry, I clicked the window. Make sure that you actually click on the right thing. Sometimes you would click on a door, but then it'll pick a window or your last item that you last clicked. So I don't know why that happens, but just make sure that you clicked on the right item. So I'll drag my folding door, make it 1100. Right, and then I'll be adding my windows and changing their sizes. And then now I'll be resizing my double folding door to 3700. This is what it currently looks like so far. Gonna be adding more windows into the ensuite bedroom. So we're pretty much done with the interior work. I can just basically go ahead and change the color from outside. So just copy and basically paste the same tone everywhere. Then now to make my job simple with the doors, I would click on the color, change the frame to black, and also change the handle color to black. Oh no, then change the frame to black and also change the color to black. Click on my double folding door again, and this time around I go to copy and I say to all. Done. Then go to my windows, I change the frame to black, and then I say copy to all. Done. And then now all my doors and windows are black for the first floor, so I need to basically do the same for the ground floor. And there's also a simpler way to change your exterior and interior colors. I just forgot this, but what you do is that you click on your wall, you go to color, and you say change exterior to black, and then we'll say copy, and then to all. Done. And then I'll basically all your ground floor walls are changed to that color, but I don't need this color, so we'll go ahead and change it to the color that I had it before. Seems like I made that the wrong size. I need to change the vertical position for that window to 2100. Now we need to add our railing for our staircase. So we need to go ahead and clone that rail. Alright, now we'll be creating our roof, or what I prefer to do is that I'll add another floor and make my roof on a separate floor. Reason being is that it makes things simple. If I want to change the roof, maybe I don't like the design anymore of the roof and I want to have like a different type of roof, I can just, basically delete this floor and create another floor. It just makes it simple. So for the sake of making it simple, we'll be adding another floor, and then once we've added another floor, we'll add another square room, and then you will basically stretch out the square room to be flush with those dashed lines from below. And I change it to balcony because I just want the floor space alone. And I make sure that it is flush with my outside areas. The other rectangle, we can just leave it open. I'll create a different roof for it. Then I will draw our wall, since I'll be creating a pitched roof. So I'll change the size for now to 4,330, and I'll change my height to 1,000 millimeters, and change my slope to 23.09 percent, almost a decrease. Right, and then now I can clone my wall, and I change it in the opposite direction since I need to be sloping in the other direction now. Seems like my walls don't meet at the middle, so you'll basically play around with the measurements up until you get it to be flush with each other. And it seems like 4,373 was the size it needs to be. So then now we'll clone it and add it to the other side. And then clone it and rotate it to the other direction. And you've got your pitched walls now. And then to add your roof, we'll add a box. We'll change the height to 250. Change the vertical position to -100. And change the color to a dark gray. And change the measurement to 1,297. Seems like my column shifted there, so let me just quickly fix that. Go to ground floor and move it back to place. Okay, there we go. And then now I clone my beam. and I add it to my balcony. And then now to stop this flickering from happening, I will just make it minus 99.9 and it's no longer flickering. Then now we can just change our pitch wall color to the same as a wall. And then I have to add my roof. I'll add a box, make it 10,837 by 4,690. Change the height to 1,400, and we'll click on show direction, and then we click on show slope direction so we can see which side is our roof sloping to. And then now I'll change both my bottom slope and my top slope to 23%. Then my roof is basically sloping to that direction, so I'll place it at the middle where our two walls join, and then I will move it so that it evenly overhangs on each side. I think it's about good enough. And I'll clone it and I'll rotate it and then join it at the middle. Then it should look something more like that. But it seems like it's slightly higher than my pitched walls, so I'll move it slightly a bit down to 1,300 and do the same for the other side, 1,300. Then I change the color to a dark gray, also a dark gray. And 3D should look like that. Let me make this beam slightly darker too. Seems like my column does not have a supporting beam, so I'll go ahead and clone this one, and then I'll slot it right in my balcony, and then I'll clone it to ground floor, resize it a bit. Then now to add a I don't know what this part of the building is called, but for the sake of this, we'll call it a decorative wall panel. I will draw my wall and I make the height to 5,700. And I put it outside my wall and make it flush. Then I'll add an opening. And I'll resize it to 5,300 and change my vertical position to 5,400. And just clone it. This usually happens if your wall is close to your wall, so we'll slightly move it away. And then we'll change the color to a dark brown. Then I can go ahead and color my beams and columns. Then now we can go ahead and add another square room. This is if you want to make a paved way or you want to make grass or anything like that. I just usually add a square room and then change it to balcony and then change it to the color that I want my paved way to be. Or my grass to be, but in this case I'll be making grass. So I'll make it green. And I'll be making a paveway and make it white. Rather, looks grayish but white. One thing you should make sure is that if you are going to be adding grass or adding any sort of paveway around, make sure that it is not touching your walls. Make sure that it is just slightly ever so flush, because it'll mess up your walls. For this, I think we'll just add a rug all the way around the house. Alright, and that brings us to the end of a two-part series of our floor plan tutorial. I really hope it's been helpful. If you have any ideas, any questions that you'd like to ask, please do share in the comment section. I do see the support and I appreciate it a lot. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.